Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I am very excited. I have my hands on the new Dior Velvet eyeshadow palettes. But before we go any further, let's take a second to grab our iced coffee or a hot coffee. Let's take a sip and let's get started. As you may know, I have an online beauty consulting service, which is where you get the chance to talk to me one-on-one through a Zoom chat. So if you have any burning beauty questions you need answered, go ahead and make an appointment with me today. Okay, so the fabulous Dior Couleurs Couture Velvet eyeshadows. Now, a few days ago, these popped up on the Nordstrom's Canada website. So if you live in Canada, these are accessible. How exciting is this? I'm so ecstatic. I'm so happy to have them here in Canada. And I placed my order online through Nordstrom's. It took a handful of days, maybe 3 days to ship. Like, it was very fast, very easy. There were no samples, but I will take very fast shipping. You know, it was pretty great. I went ahead and picked up 2 of these palettes here, so I thought we could go ahead, show some swatches, some comparisons, and do some tutorials because I have 2 palettes that I want to show you. The first one here is number 629 Coral Paisley. It is this palette here. Now, if it looks like I've dipped my fingers in, it's because I have. I actually filmed most of this video without recording any sound, so I had to refilm. But this is Coral Paisley here, and this is described as shades of gold, coral, and white. And what's interesting is I have the swatches already here. The bottom 3 shades are matte. It's only the top 2 that are more satiny. So this one here I think is a very beautiful, very pretty, everyday, work-appropriate type of palette. I picked this one up just because I liked the colors. I like the golds and the coral shades. I think they look really lovely, very sweet. And there's one palette that I want to compare it to, but before we move on to that, I wanted to show you the compact here. It's velvet, so it's less likely to get fingerprints on it, which is nice. So there is that is different in the velvet collection here. And something to note is that these are limited edition, and these are supposed to be high color, creamy, and long wearing. We've come to expect that from Dior eyeshadows in the past. There is one palette here that I think looks sort of similar to Paisley, and this is the recent summer palette, the Bayadère palette number 479. I just talked about this on my channel, and just looking at these 2 side by side, they have some similar color stories, not like complete identical dupes, which we don't want anyway, but you can sort of see where they have some similarities, and maybe this is why I picked up Coral Paisley, because I thought that, you know, Bayadère looked so lovely. So this is Bayadère on this side here. Now, Bayadère is definitely more satiny, more shimmery. There is a matte, but just one single matte. And I think that there are some similarities, but enough differences too. These are not perfect dupes. They're not one and the same. So if you have Bayadère already and you want to get Coral Paisley, I think you'll be okay. Now, moving on to the Velvet palette that all of you called me out on and kept tagging me and saying, you're getting this one, correct? And you are correct. This is the Blue Velvet. Let's look at this one. It's described as a blue tinged and a lavender palette. I'm interested in the lavender notes. That could be quite interesting. I think it looks gorgeous. It's very interesting. I love blue eyeshadow, so you guys were very spot on to say that I was going to get this one here. So for me, the one palette from Dior that is my favorite for blue eyeshadow is Denim here. So Denim, I think, is the blue eyeshadow lover's dream. You get light blues, cool blues, greens. You get a bit of everything, to be honest, and I think it's a perfect palette for summer. So let's go ahead and just compare these side by side. I mean, there's not too much similarities. Maybe some of the dark navy shades look like they could be close to each other, but they really don't look as close as Paisley and Bayadère. But I just wanted to show you these side by side. Let's go ahead and show the swatches. As you can see, there's some similarity, like they're both blue eyeshadow palettes, but I think that's sort of where the similarities end. They're really not dupes for each other. There's a lot of nuance and differences in the shades and even the color stories, to be honest. So if you like blue eyeshadow, if you have denim and you want to get blue velvet, go ahead. I don't think you're going to get like makeup regret where you have two of the same. What we're going to do is a half and half. One eye with the blue velvet and one with the coral paisley. It might look a bit wild, but I think this is the best way to help you guys out at home. If you are not subscribed to my channel, I highly recommend that you do, because I like to revisit a lot of my products and I will definitely use these a lot in the near future. So make sure you're subscribed and make sure you hit your notification too, so you can get a notification when I post a new video. Okay, so I have been primed and prepped. I used the NARS eyeshadow primer because it's the best one on the market. For the lips, I'm going to add a bit of maximizer too. I have the lip maximizer from Dior, but I have the Rosewood shade because I think a nudie rosewood would be a good lip pairing for both blue and coral eyes. Okay, so let's go ahead and start off with the blue velvet because it's the one that I'm most excited about. I'm using one of the little sponge tip applicators and I'm going to go into the center shade here. I like these little, oh, sorry, it's a button on my sleeve here, but I like these little sponges just to transfer color. They're not good for blending, but if you just want to put color on your eye, it's very good for that. So I'm just going to place this here because I'm really curious about this shade in particular, how it looks. Now, using a refer brush, all of the brushes that I'm using today are in the description box, so go ahead and peruse that. This is the Refer 13. It's really great for placing in the crease. So I'm going into this shade here, this matte one, and I'm going to pick it up, knock some off. I think adding this lavender rosy shade will also make this palette a bit more purple, you know? I think mixing a blue with this color is going to pull a little bit more purple than maybe the denim palette. I think denim is more blue with potential for green depending on the shade, whereas this one here gives you room for more purples, which is interesting. And please remember that when you pick up a palette, even if there are 5 shades in the palette, it does not mean that you need to use up all 5 at once. I'm using a separate clean blending brush. This is the Refer 16. It's a big fluffy one just to buff things out. Now I'm going into this blue shade here with the same blending brush, the Refer 13. And I'm also going to place this in the crease because I want this to be blue. I don't really want this to turn too purple. Taking the Refer 03, it's a little pencil brush. I'm going into this shade here, the matte one. And I'm just going to sweep it under the lashes here. Now taking a little sponge, the one that I used before, and using the pointed tip here, I'm going into this color. I'm sort of passing it over the lilac-y rosy shade. I just want to emphasize more of the blue. Okay, this is blue velvet. Now let's move on to the coral paisley. This is definitely going to be more simple, more like everyday office type of look. Using a BK Beauty 203, I'm starting off with the center shade again. And I'm just going to pass this all over the lid. This is more of a matte palette. So this is like a matte coral, slight tangerine. Well, it's not, this one isn't really tangerine. It's more of a coral beige on me. I'm taking this very generously all over the lid, and I'm also going to take a little bit under the bottom lashes here. Now, using the BK Beauty Angie Hot and Flashy brush A505, I'm going into the gold shade here. This is good for picking up more sparkly satin colors, but it's also good for transferring lots of, I don't want to say shimmer, but it works just as well as the sponge tip to transfer shade onto the lid. So this is the more gold color. So I'm just going to sweep and press this on the lid. If you are a person who throws out your sponge tip applicators and you hate using them, get the A505 because it gives you basically the same result, but with a brush instead of a sponge tip applicator. And then using, again, one of Angie's brushes from the BK Beauty, this is the A504. This is more of a precision brush. I'm going into the matte brown shade here. And I'm going to place it in the outer corner here, and then just a little bit in the crease. And then I'm taking a little bit of that same matte brown brush and sweeping it under the bottom lashes. And then again, I'm going into my sponge tip applicator, but the little pointed pencil side, and I'm going into the white color up here, and I'm just going to place a little bit at the inner corner here. Now for the mascara, I'm going to use my DiorShow Pump and Volume in black. I'm going to add tons. I'm going to do my face makeup and I'll come right back. All right, I'm back. So quick rundown. I am in fact wearing a full face of Dior. The foundation is the Forever Skin Glow, this beautiful, radiant, glowy, hydrating foundation. The concealer is the Forever Skin Correct. I love this. You could actually use this as a concealer if you wanted to. You could use it as a concealer or a foundation, 2-in-1. I just used it as a concealer to spot correct. Powder. My favorite powder. It's the Dior Backstage powder. No powder, it's water, gel infused. It's very hydrating. It's probably not for oily skin, but if you want like a soft, blurring, hydrating powder, it's great. The bronzer, I went with the Dior Forever Natural Bronze. This is not the one from the summer collection. It's part of the permanent release, but you can get one with like beautiful limited edition packaging for the summer collection. And then for the blush, I went into number 330 Rayonnante, Radiant, or Rayonnante means you are radiant. So this is the blush here. It's like a soft pink, little peach, just the perfect color, and it has like the slightest glow to it, so you don't even need a highlighter. So that is the full face. For the gloss, I went into the Dior Addict Stellar Gloss 754 Magnify, and I think that this lip color matches both blue and more paisley orangey eye. So this is the finished look with both palettes here. So let me know in the comments, do you prefer blue velvet or do you prefer coral paisley? Honestly, I think they both look gorgeous. Maybe it's a little staggering to see them at the same time, but I think they're really pretty. I think that there is a reason for every season, or whatever that expression is. Like, I think that there is an occasion for both of these palettes, both of these looks in general. I definitely wear both of these types of look on a regular occasion. It just depends on my mood. I think that blue velvet is gorgeous. It also looks really nice with denim. I think It's a gorgeous palette. If you have blue eyeshadow leaning tendencies, you will not be disappointed. The color payoff, the blendability, the ease to use it, it's there. It's a gorgeous palette. I really love it. I'm very, very happy to get my hands on it. And Coral Paisley. This is the palette that I wanted for just something very sweet, very simple, maybe more neutral. You know, there is orange in here, which you can lean into, but as you can see, you can also create something a little bit more demure. And I think both of these looks really capture my makeup personality very perfectly. So I think both of these palettes are beautiful. I think they're wonderful. These are limited edition, unfortunately. So if I were you, if you like either one of these palettes, I think they're worth getting. I think they are definitely worth purchasing. So if you want to get either one, I say go for it. Do it sooner rather than later because they are limited edition. I don't know how long they will be available for. That part isn't very clear, but it is not permanent. So if you like these, this is a run, don't walk situation. So that is today's look. That is the video, the review. They're wonderful, they're great. I'm so happy that they're available in Canada. I hope that this means that more of these limited exclusive releases will be available through different Canadian corridors, knock on wood. So I think this is all I have for you guys for today. Sound off in the comments below. Have you picked these up? Because there are in fact a few other shades to choose from. I think there are 5 of these new velvet palettes available. There's one that's more brown, red, pink. There's a bit of everything, a little bit of rainbow action. So let me know in the comments which ones you picked up. Are you going to pick them up soon? Let me know in the comments below. And on that note, I think this is all I have for you guys for today. So I thank you all so much for stopping by. Hope you have a beautiful day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.